Speaking of what we're seeing from Christian Pulisic in Serie A with AC Milan, they are the Super Cup champions. What a match. Behind the scenes here, we had our meeting during the game, and I heard you. I can't say curse words on here. But Milan were down 2-0, and they came back to win it 3-2, Herc.
Well, yeah, because there's going to be no debate. Like, there's going to be no segment now. They're losing 2-0, Shaq. Like, what are we going to do here? And as they did versus Juventus, another comeback win. And as they did versus Juventus, it's the Americans who led the way, mainly Christian Pulisic. I'm beginning to feel normalized by seeing this type of thing. This is a big player when it comes to big games. He's got that gene in him. Shaq mentioned it a little bit ago. Christian Pulisic is one of the best players on AC Milan, one of the biggest footballing brands in the world historically. He's one of the best players. I'd go as far as to say he's rivaling Rafael for being the face of the team. That's how good he's been lately. It's not a one-season type of thing. He's going now 18-plus months where he's been consistently relied upon, and with that responsibility, he is responding. It's not just the goal. And the goal is something beautiful, Shaq. I mean, he's on the right winger position because Rafael comes in. The ball gets clipped into the box, and he beats his defender into the shoulder, sneaks in, a slick little touch, nice little finish with the left foot to equalize in the 80th minute. Big time goal. But then it's the assist. And it's the pre-assist, I should say. It's how he starts off this play, how he lets the ball come from his right to his left, and with his left foot, perfectly weighted pass into the path of Rafael. Rafael back into Tommy Abraham. Abraham clips it in, and it's a game winner in stoppage time that he fabricates, that he creates. He seems to be relishing these big-time moments, and now it's capped off with his first trophy for AC Milan.
Yeah, and his first joint trophy here with Yunus Musa, too, who played 77 minutes. So they were having a great time on the field, and it was just a rally there towards the end. But Herc mentioned it, Shaka. Pulisic being one of the most important players now for AC Milan and showing up in those big moments. How does he keep doing it, especially when it comes to crucial moments like we saw today?
Oh, Christian, I wish I could answer that. And full disclosure, when Christian Pulisic joined AC Milan, I was linked with. I thought it was a disaster just waiting to happen. But Christian Pulisic, to his credit, has made this work and incredibly well to the point that Herc just made, that not only does he go from, I thought, a disaster of a move to becoming the face of one of the biggest brands in world football. Saying that, one of the biggest brands that has had its fair share of turmoil over the last few months, up against a city rival that have been as stable, as well run as any club in Italian football. You go 2 down and somehow you manage to rally. And yet again, Christian Pulisic is central to that. I will also double down on praising the goal. And excuse me here if this makes little sense. That goal was so simple in its execution, but so difficult in what was presented to Christian Pulisic. And it's all about that first touch. It's all about being cool under pressure, in the heart of the box, in a cup final. And I mean, I cannot tell you how impressed I was with the goal. But if you take yourself away from it, you think, well, it's a first touch and a finish, that's not so hard. But I'm with Herc in my appreciation of it. And of everything Christian Pulisic, in all honesty. In a team, again, that at times just feels kind of thrown together, that's had its turmoil, but somehow have managed to find the right touch at exactly the right moment. And full credit to them.
Yeah, and when it comes to that killer instinct that we're seeing from Pulisic, we know it's very much a mental game when it comes to kicking those penalty kicks, which we saw him do against Juve in the Supercopa semifinal as well. How impressed are you with that streak that he has?
Let's not concentrate on the streak so much. Let's concentrate on what it takes to actually be in that moment and score a goal. High pressure moment, semifinal. High pressure moment, final. Let alone when it's a penalty kick. All eyes on you, and it's a big moment. he seems to have ice in his veins. If you've ever spoken to Christian Pulisic, if you've ever interviewed him, watched his interviews, he's so just mellow. He is so just calm. It's almost annoyingly calm, annoyingly mellow. You want a little bit of a reaction, there's no reaction. And he's the same way presented upon a high-pressure situation. We go back to the national team. We go back to when the rise of this men's national team started versus Mexico in Denver, the first Nations League final. The penalty kick he scores to win the U.S. the game against Mexico, shushing the crowd in Denver. You know, he just seems to have this big moment sense about him, and there is no bigger moment than a penalty kick when something is on the line. For whatever reason, it's always in favor of the penalty taker, but it doesn't go that way. Yeah. He seems to make it go his way. He seems to settle his nerves. He seems to be owner of the moment. He's got that about him.
Yeah, and he has
Speaking
to.
of which, sorry, if I may interject here.
Yeah.
You talk about having this calm about him, Herc. We're only a few months removed from that fiasco. Players
Tamari
fighting
and
over
Abram.
penalty.
Yeah.
And correct. And Christian Pulisic just kind of removing himself from that. And he was criticized in some quarters. Some quarters on FC thought that he needed to be a little bit more assertive. Well, hopefully now that is a distant memory that Christian Pulisic has established himself as the penalty taker, not just the penalty taker in any normal moment, but in the biggest of moments. And again, while he came in for some criticism then, I think his calm has put him to the forefront of who AC Milan are right now. And again, that's down to the man himself.
Yeah, and maybe it could be down to the manager in this moment, too. Brand new, already has a title with someone like Sergio Conceição, but since Pulisic has arrived at Milan, this is the third coach now that he's had. Herc, how can this impact his future here specifically at AC Milan?
From somebody who's played for many coaches, yeah, each coach has a difficulty presented for you. And it's not always going to go your way. A new coach comes in, he's going to want to do things his way, bring in his people, and sometimes you're not part of that. And we've seen this happen to Christian Pulisic. This would be the norm for Christian Pulisic. That was literally his world at Chelsea. That was literally what he did for Chelsea. A new coach would come in, he'd have to prove himself again. And now Sergio Conceição, he comes in 2 games and it's 2 starts and it's right wing, left wing, and it's all of a sudden operating in central positions. It's giving him importance, it's empowering him with responsibility, and it's paying off. But I had my doubts, and I still have my doubts, Shaq, because Sergio Conceição, if you know who this coach is, and Mexican fans will remember this coach. He was a head coach of Porto when Héctor Herrera was there, when Miguel Layún was there, when Tecatito Corona were there, and they all had their run-ins with this coach. Mainly Héctor Herrera and mainly Tecatito, and mainly Tata Martino as a head coach of the Mexican national team. This coach does his thing his way. He's very strict and rigid in how he wants things, and he doesn't care about bashing heads, shaking things up. So I still, for a bit of me, is uneasy. But if you've seen these celebration videos of Sergio Conceição with the cigar in the locker room, you know, singing, dancing, the way he's approached this, and what he's already done in such a short amount of time, and who, if you had to say, was the focal point of these 2 games, you have to feel good about his chances going forward.
Yeah, when it comes to that consistency, that's what the coaches are looking for, too, when they come into a brand new locker room. Who is going to be that person in those big moments? And so far, Shaka, it's Christian Pulisic. So
yes.
How nervous are you about the future when it comes to Pulisic and Sergio Conceição?
Not overly, I'll be honest with you. Listen, I understand. I share Herc's concerns around a new manager coming in. We've all been there, and how things may change, and inevitably it does. Every manager is different in any number of ways. But all you could ask is to play well, to be given an opportunity to play well. Christian Pulisic has a body of work behind him now in a Milan shirt. As we've said, he's established himself as, if not the, certainly one of the first names on the team sheet. And that's as good as you can ask for, to be given that chance, because he will get it. We've seen that over the last couple of days, over the last couple of games, and that you take it. He's off to a brilliant start. So as of right now, I don't have major concerns about the new manager coming in and how that impacts Christian Pulisic. Certainly not in the short term.
Yeah, just got to keep cool, calm, collected, as we know that Christian Pulisic is here if he wants to have a future now at AC Milan with this new coach, Sergio Conceição.